All right, I am so excited to be here today. I'm honored that Cosmoprof gave me this opportunity, and I still can't believe I'm sitting on stage with the Zappos guy and the Starbucks guy. So I know I've arrived. I want their autographs after this. So can I get a show of hands? Raise your hand if you're a salon or a spa owner. Raise your hand if you are a licensed cosmetologist, massage therapist, esthetician, nail tech, if you work in the business. Okay, raise your hand if you're a manufacturer or distributor. Great, good, great mix of people here today. Well, I have a big problem. I have a short amount of time to present some great information, and I'm a woman and I'm a lawyer, which means I talk a lot. So I have got to find a way to try to squeeze this in. So I'm going to go a little fast through a couple sections, but I've got some really good pieces of information. I've got some slides here today with real numbers from Ginger Bay, some real things that we do here. So if you do want the slides today, all you have to do is give your business card to, is it Michelle? Or I'm not sure who's collecting it. It's Danielle or Michelle. Virginia will collect those, and we will make sure that you have my slides, because there's some really technical information on the slides, snapshots of spreadsheets and things like that, and I want you to have that, okay? And I'm also going to stay afterwards. So this is a picture of Ginger Bay, and I want to tell you a little bit about my business. Ginger Bay was opened in 1991 with 7 employees. I am not the founder of Ginger Bay. I purchased the company in 2008 when we were about 17 years old. And we currently have 75 employees. We grossed over $4.5 million last year in one location. We have 10,000 square feet of space. We have a full salon and a full spa. And we are an Aveda salon and spa. Everyone who works for me is an employee. We have no booth renters at Ginger Bay, never have, never will. And we're very proud to say we'll be opening our second location in this October. We have the keys, we have the lease signed, we're ready to go. So it took us 17 years to sell it, but it took us 3 years to have our second location. And all of that, I feel, is what I'm about to tell you about today, and that is what we think turned our business around in the midst, by the way, of a pretty bad economy. So I've got our mission statement up here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, even though this is about culture, and I don't want to underplay that, but I want you to have it. Love our mission. I really recommend that you have a mission. And redo it about every 5 years. Don't stay with the same mission. You'll find you're very disconnected to it. This is a little bit of recognition. Again, I'm going to kind of move through some of this pretty quickly, but I think this is how Daniela found me, Cosmoprof found me, is we've always gotten a lot of recognition as a salon and spa. We're very fortunate that way, but in 2010, we got a lot of national recognition because we had opened our books up. So in June 2010, Inc. magazine named us a top small company workplace, and I about fell over. It was the most amazing thing that we could ever possibly receive, and then turned around in the great game of business gave us the All-Star Award in the United States for best practices for a company 5 years and under. So big year in 2010, but again, I'm going to skip over a lot of this. If you're familiar with Salon Today, Ginger Bay's been in the top 200 salons for 9 years. And I believe this is Salon Today's 15th anniversary, so not bad. All right, so I'm here to talk about a corporate culture in a salon and spa. And a lot of people who aren't in the salon and spa business always ask me, is that even possible? And my answer is absolutely, and it's not only possible, but you have to do it. You absolutely have to survive. Before I bought the business, I remember hearing my predecessor, the founder of Ginger Bay, who sold me the business, she said, we're not competing with Massage Luxe, Massage Envy, Sephora, beauty brands, Stone in the Hand, any of the chains, Great Clips, Hair Saloon, Sports Clips. We're not competing with them. Then when I bought the business, I realized we are. Because what we're competing for is those service and retail dollars. Consumers only have so much disposable income, and we're also competing for the workforce. I don't know if you know this, but there was an article in the Wall Street Journal that said that Massage Envy alone was taking about 20% of massage therapists across the country. That's a huge chunk of my workforce. In my neighborhood in St. Louis, Missouri, I could throw a stone to Massage Envy and Massage Luxe right outside my door. So if you think that you're not competing with those corporations, and you probably do, I just didn't. I wasn't aware. We really are. So since you're competing with a corporation, you really do need to act like a corporation. You need to have all the same things that a big corporation has in place. And these are just a few of the things that big corporations have and do have. You should have great systems. That's the end of the end of the story here is really you have to have great systems about everything. I know I'm here to talk about, and we're all here to talk about the people. They're our greatest assets. But what I find when I go to talk to small businesses, especially salons and spas, is they don't have great systems in place. People don't know how to take a vacation. They don't know when they get a raise or a price increase. They don't know what's expected of them every day at work. They really don't know usually when they're doing a good job. They only usually know when they're doing a bad job. And you have to have great systems in place to make that happen. When I became the owner, I looked at all the systems that we had, and we had some great systems because we had grown the business a lot over the years. But the one thing that kept bothering me, especially while we were trying to purchase the business and after we had purchased it, is I kept asking myself, why is this company not profitable? Why are we a break-even business? In fact, some years, why are we going into negative numbers? Like a lot of salons and spas, we were living off our gift card fund. Have you ever done that before? Because a lot of salons and spas that I talk to do. We can't make payroll this week, so we'll borrow from the gift card fund. We can't pay the HVAC guy, so we'll borrow from the gift card fund. And what happened in 2008 is the gift card fund ran out. And a bad economy happened, and it was the perfect storm, because you know what else happened? Gift card redemptions went up. At Ginger Bay, they went up from 87% to 99.9%, and the gift card fund was gone. So we really had to operate our budget like a family should operate their budget, but I didn't want to live paycheck to paycheck, because that's what we had been doing. So I really asked myself a lot of these questions, and I would ask you this too, and certainly not asking you to raise your hand. How many of us really know right now, today, on a Monday afternoon, how much is in your operating checking account? Good for you if you're raising your hand. You're awesome, because I didn't when I first bought the company. I have an email on my phone right now from my comptroller, so that's how I know. She tells me how much is on the credit cards, how much is in every bank account, and we're going to talk about that. We have huddles and everything. But here's some other questions. Does everybody know how to read a profit and loss statement? Does everybody really understand their company finances? I think we do until we really dive into it. And I'll be honest with you, those are the things that were keeping me up at night. And I felt like I was the only one that really was staying up at night. I was worried about these things, and I wanted my employees to worry about it too. I really did. I wanted them to help me. It's not that I wanted them to lose sleep. I wanted their help, though. I wanted them to participate in the process. So here's what Ginger Bay looked like. I'm going to do this really quick before we decided to do open book management. We had no real financial systems, honestly. We were about a $3.8 million business, $3.9 million business, and we didn't have good financial systems. We didn't have a budget. We didn't know how to read our P&Ls very well. And here's the one thing that I find a lot of small business owners run into. Our accountant would mail our profit and loss statements to us, and we would receive them about 2 to 3 months after the month that we were currently in. The package would arrive, and it would be neatly filed into a file cabinet. Because you know what? I can't impact those numbers. They happened 2 months ago. I can't do anything with them. And so we were just filing those away. The employees had little or no awareness whatsoever of what was going on with the company. They had no idea when we were having financial problems. They just kind of went about their business. And if you've ever watched an episode of Tabitha's Salon Takeover, I'm sorry, I'm a big fan, there's not an employee there who's ever aware of what's going on until Tabitha shows up to take the keys. None of us are those salons, I know that. But that was kind of how Ginger Bay, they really didn't realize that we had had bad economic times. The owner, mostly, she set all of the goals and prices for everybody in the company. The financial information was limited. Like, you would know how you did individually, but you didn't know how, you didn't know how the company did or how each department did. And so basically, we just didn't have any accountability. You didn't really know you were doing a bad job, or you didn't know that you needed to improve until the owner came to you and told you. So in 2008, kind of made this plus and minus column, and I put this in the negative column. We had an ownership change in 2008. And I put that in the negative column because I could have had a walkout. Honestly, that's scary for a lot of people, okay? We had a lot of external forces. I bought the salon in May of 2008, and all of a sudden in October 2008, Lehman Brothers files bankruptcy. You start seeing all the banks start needing to be bailed out. There's an election year. We also had a lot of cultural challenges. I bought a teenager. Ginger Bay was 17, and she was a little rebellious, okay? She had been going on a certain pace, and she didn't like change so much. But I had this one big plus, and this is the plus that saved me. I had this fabulous team that was committed to Ginger Bay, and they wanted to make it work. They wanted me to succeed because they knew if I succeeded, they would succeed. But we still had a lot of problems. 2008 was actually the perfect time to launch Great Game. I wish I would have done it earlier, but here's really what literally open book management is, and this is what we launched beginning in 2008. It's just opening your books and records to your team. And you do it in a way that is meaningful to them. I mean, if I just opened up the QuickBooks and gave everybody a password, it wouldn't have meant the same thing. But literally, you've already talked about transparency. It's really about being transparent and showing your team every number that they can possibly see, every number that you control, even the ones you can't control. The goal of open book management is long-term success for the business, but also for the employees. It's to show them they have a career path. They have a succession plan. And the strategy is to create people who are business-minded, who care and behave and act like owners. That's hard to do, but not if you have a great team like I had at Ginger Bay. The principles come from the book, The Great Game of Business by Jack Stack. I'm not here to sell any books to anybody. I'm just telling you this is the book that started it all for us. Like you, I've been to many of these seminars. I'm a PBA member, and I would come back with a whole bunch of books. And I would read them, and I would talk, and I would walk around for about a month, and I would say, we're going to do the fishes, or we're going to do this. And about a month later, it would die. And I call that management by bestseller. This is the one book. This is the book that we have at Ginger Bay. We use it all the time. All leaders are required to read it. And this is where the main principles come from. A lot of people think that open book management is for small companies because small companies would want to open their books. Here are some large companies that have opened their books. They are Great Game of Business members, and they all survived the 2008 economic crisis and then some. How many of you even flew Southwest Airlines today? I flew it this weekend. Did you know it was an open book company? They open their books. If you ever go on Harley Davidson's website, they used to have these pictures on there. I don't know if they still do. They have a war room. It's called the War Room, and it's all their scoreboards and all their numbers where all their leaders can go and see how they're doing as a company. And that's where they have their huddles. So what open book management says is the only way your company has a chance to help you be financially successful, and this is the key. I'm going to teach you the principles of the game in like 2 minutes, and this is normally a 2-day seminar. So you ready? So the principles of the game are these 3. Every single employee is given the measure of the business success and taught to understand them. That's what we call know and teach the rules. That's when you open the books and you start teaching financial literacy. Number 2, every single employee is empowered and expected to use that knowledge to improve their performance to hopefully improve the business. Okay, that's what we call follow the action and keep score. We're going to talk about scoreboarding a lot. And number 3, every employee has a direct stake in the outcome. They have some sort of stake, whether it's a bonus, whether it's recognition, whether it's ownership, whether it's a price increase. They have a stake in the outcome. They know if I do X, I get Y. So this is what this looks like. This is right out of the Great Game of Business Handbook. These are the principles of the game. This is what I just went over. And these are some ways that you can practice the game. And I'm going to talk about a few of these today. I don't think I'm going to get through everything. Otherwise, Curtis isn't going to get to speak. So in Know and Teach the Rules, we opened the books at Ginger Bay. We have high involvement strategies and high involvement financial planning. We do scoreboards on following the action and keep score. We do scoreboards, huddles, and forecasting. I'm going to talk about that the most today. And then number 3, provide a stake in the outcome. We have rewards. We don't have ownership yet. We do have a profit sharing, and I'll get there, and we have recognition. So In the middle of that circle, though, you'll see the critical number, and that's kind of the heart of this. What you need to have for your business is a critical number. You need to stay focused. I don't know how you are, but as a business owner at first, I was very, like, putting out fires all the time. You know, being distracted very easily. And I would get through the day and I would be exhausted, and I would say, you know, what did I really accomplish today? What your critical number does is it prioritizes exactly what it is your team should be focused on. You can have more than one critical number. You can have a couple. I wouldn't recommend more than 3, but your critical number is the one thing that you have to do as a company and as a team to survive and to grow your business. If you read the book, The Great Game of Business, their critical number was their mortgage. They had this huge loan on this business, and they said, if we don't pay our loan, we have no business. You have to figure that out. And that's not, by the way, a number the owner figures out. That's a number the owner figures out with key employees, the critical number. At Ginger Bay, we call it a WIG. It's a wildly important goal. We borrowed that from Franklin Covey. If that doesn't happen, nothing else matters. So how do we incorporate all these principles and all of these practices at Ginger Bay? We haven't yet. We've been working at it for 3 years. It's a way of life. This is not a magic pill. We work at it every single day, every single week. It's all over the salon. There's scoreboards everywhere. There's reminders. There's huddles. There's all kinds of things that happen. And I think there's 2 places I lose small business owners. I have visitors almost every single week at Ginger Bay. They come and watch our leadership huddle. And here's where I lose them. I tell them, number 1, you have to open your books. You have to show people what you're paying for things and how much you're making. And that's usually where I lose most of them. The second group I lose when I tell them this, it's not a magic pill. It is not something you're going to have figured out next month. You got to be committed to this. You got to constantly be working. That's why we don't bring any more books into the company anymore. This is the book. This is what we're trying to do. Because again, there's nothing more important than managing your finances. And I know we don't want to say that in the salon and spa world. We're very creative, passionate, caring, giving people. I get that. I completely believe that. But there's no business without having great finances. And I think the best thing you can do to show your team how much you care about them is to be financially successful. Give them job security. Give them a stake in the outcome. Give them a bonus plan. Give them a way to see their future, that they have a career path and a way to make more money for you. Don't make them come to you and say, Laura, I just did $1,500 in service sales for the last 10 weeks. For God's sakes, what do I need to do to get a price increase at the salon? This is what I think is a great gift to your team. And what I'm going to talk about a lot also is the ROI on this. Sure, there's a lot of numbers that are the ROI, the return on investment. But the greatest thing that I got out of this is trust. By far, it's trust. I opened my books and I said to my team, I trust you with these numbers. I trust you, you're smart, you know our guests better than I do, and I'm trusting you to help me with this. Remember, I'm not a cosmetologist. I can't go down on the floor and stand around and buddy-buddy with them and say, hey, remember that time that we screwed up Mrs. So-and-so's hair and haha. I'm an attorney, and I've got to find other ways that I can be very trustworthy in my business. And I'm telling you, this made a huge difference. Okay, so here's what we did. Now I'm going to start getting into the meat and potatoes, and I'm going to go really fast because I think I got the sign already that I'm done. All right, are you ready? This is what we did to launch Ginger Bay's Open Book Management Plan. We cleaned up all of our financials. We took our P&Ls. We went through every single line item. We met in the conference room. We looked at it as a leadership team. And we said, every single line on this P&L, if it's not supposed to be here, it needs to go bye-bye. If you have an other or a miscellaneous on your P&L, it needs to go. It should never exist. Basic concepts of accounting. Who has an other or a miscellaneous on your P&L? Because we had 3 of them, I think. We did. Educational other, travel other, and office supply other, or something. It was operational expense other, okay? So you got to clean up your statements. We sat around the conference room, we took the P&L, and we all sat around and we said, who should really be in charge with this line item? You know how many line items are on there? There's a lot of line items. Here's the great news. There was no fighting. There was no debate. Everybody on my team knew who should be owning each line item, and your name now is on that line, on my P&L. So that's the first thing, ownership. Oh, you own that number. You own the budget of that number. You own the forecasting of that number. You are responsible for everything connected to that number. We had all the leaders read The Great Game of Business. All new leaders read The Great Game of Business. And then we taught our own financial literacy in-house to all of our leaders and to our team. There isn't a meeting at Ginger Bay without financial literacy. Then we held a critical numbers workshop. And all of our leaders attend these now every single year. We go off-site. So we'll be going off-site in October of this year to come up with our critical numbers for 2012. All right? So I'm going to show you our critical numbers. It's just some examples. In 2010, our company's critical numbers, we went off-site. And I should tell you that we did ask everybody in 2008, what do you think our critical numbers are going to be? And some people came up with some really great numbers. Nobody was right. No one was right. It took us about 8 hours to hash this out. I don't have our 2008 and our 2009. This is 2010. This is what we came up with. Net profit before taxes and customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction, what does that have to do with a P&L? Well, what we kept hearing in the room was it's retention, it's pre-booking, it's service dollars, it's all of these things that kept coming up with one thing, and that was customer satisfaction. And we didn't have a good way to measure that. All those numbers contribute to it. So we rely on the Net Promoter Score. That's what NPS is. And that's from the book, The Ultimate Question by Fred Reichman. If you want to, it's probably the most scientific way to measure your customer service scores. Because a lot of us have these customer service surveys that say, rate us on a 1 to 5, or rate us on a, we're great, we're exceptional, we're fair, we're poor. This makes it a little bit more metric-based, okay? So these were our critical numbers. And I'm sorry, I'm going to kind of jump through it. And these are our current 2011 critical numbers. So here we go again, off-site. You'd think we'd change it up significantly. We meet for 7.5 hours, and we come up with basically the same thing. We did almost. Notice the one difference, though. Our first critical number is net profit after taxes. Again, part of the financial literacy curves, everybody starts looking at Laura's taxes and how the company pays for those taxes, and we decided to change it up a little bit. Again, I'm going to breeze through this. So here's what's worked the best at Ginger Bay, and I'm going to go really fast, all right? There are 200 different things that you could do with open book management, and I'm going to pick 3 right now that made all the difference at Ginger Bay, okay? Number 1, team-based goal setting. No longer does the owner set your goals. What everybody has at Ginger Bay is 2 numbers. You have a benchmark and you have a goal. Your benchmark in service and retail dollars as a technician is my break even. If you don't make your benchmarks, you can't work at Ginger Bay. Because if you don't make my benchmark number, I don't have a break, I can't pay my bills. That's my break even. So everybody in the company has a benchmark, and that's my break even. The goal above that is what allows us to grow. It's the percentage by which we would like to grow the company beyond the benchmark. So the growth number, the goal number, is for renovations. It's for a profit sharing plan. It's for second location. You can't get a loan, by the way, to renovate or have a second location if you're not profitable. Banker's not going to even look at that. Okay? So every single person in the team meets with their team lead. They'll start in September of this year. They meet one-on-one. They have coaching sessions. They get their historical data. They get information about what we anticipate business to look like in the future, and they hash it out. It takes a while to do that. And every individual in the company comes up with their service benchmark and goal and their retail benchmark and goal by week. We add those numbers up. We add up all the employees' numbers, get a calculator out, and if it works for us, if that break-even number works for us, that benchmark's good. We go back and add up the goal. We come back, and the company, and everybody's like, one year I think the company, everybody wanted to grow by like 15%. We actually had to go back to the team and tell them it was too high. We love that you're enthusiastic, but we're setting ourselves up for failure. But that's what we do. We just sit down, we add it all up. We go into our November department meeting. I'm sorry, our all-team meeting in November. of this year, we'll go into it. It's November 7th, I think. We'll go into that meeting, and we'll launch our 2012 numbers. We'll launch everybody's individual number, every department's numbers, the company's numbers. We'll launch them all at that meeting. Everybody will know what the 2012 plan is. This is an example of our plan, okay? And what it shows you is after we added every single person's numbers up, I'm showing you our service benchmark and our goal. Retail is on the bottom. We have a benchmark and a goal. So as a company, we wanted our service benchmark in 2010 to be 4.6 million and our goal to be 4.8. That's after we added everybody's numbers up. And you can have these slides. Remember, this is open book management. You can have all my numbers. Okay. So the results of team-based goal setting is basically now you own your numbers. You can't say, I don't know how you gave me my numbers, or I can't achieve that, because you just sat down with your coach back in September, October, and you came up with them. All right, now I'm going to show you really quick how we take those numbers and we make everyone really accountable. We scoreboard everything at Ginger Bay, okay? If you can't improve something you can't measure. So we scoreboard everything at Ginger Bay. So we have company scoreboards and we have department scoreboards. So this is an example of one. Again, you can't see it all that great. This is hanging in the corporate office. Anybody who walks in, from the UPS guy to anybody who wants to off the street, can see my P&L. It's posted right in my corporate office. Because this scoreboard is used at a huddle that happens every single week. And again, you can have this slide so you can see my numbers, okay? This is a monthly P&L. It's posted. This is a scoreboard. This is an example of a company scoreboard. This is hanging on my break room wall. This is one full wall. It's in my break room. You cannot come to Ginger Bay and walk past this. You have to walk past this wall. You have to clock in. You can't go to the bathroom without walking past this wall. All paths emerge at this wall. It's 8 by 10. It's ginormous. And we call it either the wall of fame or the wall of shame, because your numbers are posted. If you see this, I'm going to hone in on one department. This is the nail department in orange. Their number on top is their service number. Their number on the bottom is their retail number. If you can see over in the one column where you see the red and the green, that's their end of the week numbers. If your numbers are in red, that's very bad. You did not meet your benchmark or your goal. Blue is for benchmark, green is for goal, and red means you got a lot of work to do. So these numbers are posted every single day, every morning before shift starts. And the great thing that happened is my business literally changed overnight the day this was hung on the wall. My team had never seen their numbers like this on the wall. They had never been held so accountable to numbers that they themselves had picked. And behaviors changed overnight. And what started happening as the numbers were posted is people would say, hey, Erin, I noticed you got a big goose egg in the retail the other day. What the heck is that? You know? Hey, Curtis, high five on coming in on green only by Wednesday. That's great. Or they'd debate with us. We'd post the numbers and they'd say, oh no, I checked my retail in Millennium. I was higher than that. That's wrong. Good, challenge me on that. You know, I would love to, I hope you're right. I do, but I'm telling you, behaviors changed overnight. It was refreshing to see peer-to-peer accountability. So just a couple examples of company scoreboards. Our booking order in Millennium is a company scoreboard. It is not based on years of service as it used to be at Ginger Bay. It is based on certain productivity factors that get you a spot in booking order. It changes every quarter, as does your treatment room and your hair station. You have to earn your spot. Okay? So we also have department scoreboarding. I'm going to go really fast. Every single department also has scoreboards. And what they do in their department huddles is they're trying to help us reach those critical numbers. So here's some examples. When our critical number in 2010 was net profit before tax, here were some ways that our team could support us. And here are some actual examples of some things that the hair team and the nail team and the aesthetics team did. So in one quarter, the hair team had a scoreboard that said, in this quarter, if we increase our hair color services from 45% to 55%, we don't book any more services, we don't have any more guests, we don't raise any more our prices. Just in one quarter, we could net $9,800 more in that quarter. And they built a scoreboard around that. And so they would come to their huddles with that scoreboard, and we talked about huddling next. Look what the nail team came up with. They said if we used 5 towels per manicure instead of 7 towels per manicure, we would save the company $1,890 every quarter. Pretty brilliant. They came up with that. So there's just a couple of examples. These are some examples of some scoreboards, some huddles. That's the massage team actually meeting in a treatment room. That's the hair team up there meeting by the color stations. Our guests, by the way, see a lot of these huddles. They see the scoreboards. We're okay with that. I'm going to go really fast on the last things. I know I'm way over time. How over time am I? I am way over time. All right, this is it. I'm going to flip to the end. This is the absolute number one thing that Ginger Bay did that made all the difference, and that was weekly huddles. All right? Every single week, my leadership team meets at 1:30 on Wednesday afternoon. And every single department, from housekeeping to guest services, massage, they meet every single week. The focus of that huddle is their scoreboard. If you're at the leadership huddle, it's that scoreboard I showed you in the corporate office. What we do is, this is an example. This scoreboard is actually posted in our leadership huddle. I promise when you get the slide, you can see it. But what we do, and this is the key. Remember when I told you that we used to get our P&Ls and they were mailed to us? Our P&L, our profit and loss statement, it's a live, living document. And we come into this room, and there's about 11 of us. It's my hair team lead, my nail team lead, my massage team lead. It's all my team leads, and then it's my corporate office staff who spend the money, my marketing director, my HR person. It's all of us who spend money, my facilities director. And we stand around in this room at 1:30. It starts on time, no exceptions, and the huddle starts. And we basically go through this P&L. We ask every single person, all the leads, to project their revenue for the next 4 weeks. So, Devin, what is the hair team going to do this week in service sales? She tells me the number this week and the next 4 weeks out. What are you going to do in retail? Same thing. We go down the line, and all the revenue then is put in the cost of sales. I'm sorry, in the P&L. Then we get to the next section, which is cost of goods sold. And that's when I get my inventory. All my people who spend money in cost of goods sold, they project their revenue, their expenses, pardon me. Then everybody else who projects expenses, we all stand around, and our P&L is a living document. And if you give a number, you have to give a reason why. Why is your number so low this week? Or, hey, great job. There's a lot of applause. There's a lot of celebration. You know, you guys didn't meet your benchmark, but you did better than last year. That's awesome. Okay? So this is just one example of a strip of what you're looking at in that. This is a minimized version of that. And again, you can have this slide. And what it's showing you is exactly what the hair team was projecting. We then pour all of those projections into a cash flow statement. We look at our cash flow every single day. We know exactly how much cash we have. Most of your employees think revenue is cash. So Ginger Bay had over $4.5 million in revenue last year. I don't have $4.5 million in cash. And a lot of your employees, I'm sorry, but they do think they're the same thing. They do. Okay? So this document is our cash flow statement. The accountant doesn't have to do this anymore. By the way, our accounting fee bills went down 2/3 in 2009 because we do this in-house. Then we have department huddles. I'm not going to cover any of that. Here's what I want to say, some things that you should take away. Even if you decide not to open your books, and I know that's a scary, scary step, I would really encourage you, the one thing you go back to the office to do is you really get a hold of your financials. What happened in 2008 is terrible, what happened in the economy, but the salons that closed, the spas that closed, because I know I got a lot of phone calls, would you like to buy my equipment? I hated those calls. They made me sick to my stomach. Those salons and spas don't exist because they didn't have a good handle on their finances, bottom line, and neither did their team. So use scoreboards, measure behavior. Even if you go back to your office, back to your salon and spa, and you just post one scoreboard on the wall, just one, just see how it goes with your team. Have a contest. Who can be the most productive this month? Just one scoreboard. And I think you'll be amazed at what the behaviors are, and give them a reward. And I didn't even get a chance to talk about rewards today. Rewards are very empowering. You're in business to make money, and I say this with all due respect, but again, I get this from a lot of salon owners. But I just want to make people feel good. I'm creative, you know. Again, you're in business to stay in business. You're not a non-for-profit. You're in business to make money. So, and by the way, your team thinks you're driving home to your mansion every night in your Rolls Royce. They do. They do. I drive a minivan. My team knows what I make. But your team thinks that. So why not share it with them? Why not share the numbers with them? Because the number one thing I will tell you at Ginger Bay that made the biggest impact on our business, built trust from the inside out, empowered us, educated our team, allowed us to grow, and absolutely changed our culture, and that's what we're talking about today, was open book management. I am so sorry I ran over time. My slides are yours. I'm going to stay after. You've been wonderful. Thank you.